is a Bramble Jam podcast. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Decom Descendants.
Man.
Just a bunch of pals getting together, watching some Decom, some for the first time.
You're coming out of the gate hot, Bran.
I'm excited today, everybody.
You're excited for
Stepsister
Yep.
from Planet Weird, baby.
Yeah. It's a weird
You know
movie.
who loves this movie is my wife. My wife
Does
loves
she
this
really?
movie. Yes.
I'm going to have a talk with Caitlin.
Yeah. Can I be there for that?
I will say, you know what's not weird, Bran, is the reviews. I think we might make it.
Whoa. You're talking about 100 by 20?
100 by 20. It's
How we doing?
It's the saying that's sweeping the nation. 100 by 20. You know the one.
Mm-hmm.
As of recording this,
Right.
we have
Right.
85 reviews. That means next week, by the time that airs,
So the movie we're recording right now is our 18th.
by the time we record this as our 18th episodes, we have 85. So by the time we release the 20th, is that how I understand it? Because we're kind of recording ahead.
That's right. Correct.
Okay. So we have to basically have 15 more reviews before we release the 20th.
Oh,
I feel good about it.
Do you think Brian has left a rating and review?
I doubt it. That guy, he's a monster.
we got so many.
Are you doing it?
We got so many ratings and reviews over the past week.
Yeah. It's gonna
Like
be
just looking at the reviews, I see 2, 4, 6, 8. I see 8 written reviews
Man.
within the past week.
Wow.
Alone,
Man.
which is nuts.
Like K. St. Jeannie that says thedecombomb.com. This pod is perfect for reliving the classic Disney Channel romps that we loved and validating the nonsense that ensued in most of them from an adult POV. Bran, Dan, and Erin keep the laughs coming and the takes flowing. Channel 50 was my Bramble Jam. Thanks for the nostalgia and weekly boost of serotonin. Can't wait for Cadet Kelly.
Yes!
Ooh, it's coming up. It's coming up.
I do love that one. Hillary
Great.
Duff.
Love Hillary
Christy
Duff.
Carlson Romano.
Love Hillary Duff.
Cool. You said that like that would mean something to me.
Sorry,
Christy
Christy Carlson Romano.
Romano.
I'll look
yeah.
to the person who
Yeah,
knows.
I know.
Yeah.
Of course I know Christy
Yeah.
Carl. Our podcast, one of our podcast rivals, Christy Carlson Romano. Riding on a turtle said can't get enough. Seriously, why is this podcast only once a week? Good question. I've seriously listened and re-listened to all the episodes. Guys, this is
Wow.
what we're talking
This
about.
is it.
Riding on a
This
turtle
is it
is,
right here.
the person. They listen, then they re-listen.
They re-listen.
I bet
That's
they
right.
share it with their friends. I bet they blitz, everybody.
The blitz worked. I think what we're saying is the blitz worked.
They also say no channel number as my family rented decoms from our local
Rented
library
decoms?
and my Apple House.
Your family made of money? Are they just throwing
Oh,
away?
his Apple House. What's his
And
Apple House?
Apple House is a Jonah Gold? Jonah Gold? Yana?
It's
Jonah Gold?
Jonah Gold.
Jonah Gold.
Let's go with Jonah Gold. Did we decide what ours was officially?
We
Or?
did, and I can't remember.
Yeah.
They listen and re-listen.
Re-listen, which is a big deal.
Amazing.
We love them.
June 2 Sept says one of the best parts of my week. Love this show full of
that.
nostalgia and laughs. Growing up in a conservative house, almost as strict as Dan's, we didn't get to see much Disney, but Disney was one place we had free reign. I was older, so I didn't get to many until after the first 20, until I had kids. And now they get to enjoy them too, whether they like it or not. Dan, Bran, and Erin are great on all of their podcasts and can't wait to listen to where Bramble Jam goes next.
That's kind. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We're close, everybody, is what we're trying to say. Very close to getting to 100. So leave a review. Continue to share the podcast with you and yourns. And we will, I think next step is taking over the world, but we'll try to conquer this one first. And speaking of different worlds, today we're talking about Stepsister.
Stepsisters.
From Planet Weird.
Stepsisters.
Stepsisters, there's an infection.
There's an
Stepsister
infection?
from Planet
Are you
Weird.
sick?
Yes, is what we're talking about today.
Is that why you were out on Thursday?
Yes, I had Sep.
That's right.
I was pretty serious.
Stepsisters. We'll get you. They get the vax. You're an anti-stepsister vax. You're anti-vax. That's
I
the problem.
can confidently say I am, in fact, anti the Stepsister vax.
Wow. Bold, man.
I
He
know.
has every other vax, but he refused that
I
one.
love
No,
vax.
don't help him. Don't help him here.
I don't like this
I
one.
don't want to get angry reviews.
I'm just waiting for the data. It's time for delicious. Erin, each week you bring something to help us.
If Dr. Fauci, if they give him the Stepsister vax, then I will take the Stepsister.
He hasn't done it yet. I know he's retired, but he hasn't done it yet.
We actually have Dr. Fauci here.
We do not.
Hello.
If we did, he would sound a lot like Johnny iTunes. I can promise you that.
He is going to get the vax live on air with us.
Wow, right now.
I love the vax. It's me, Fauci.
It is not.
Yep. Vax.
We were doing so great on ratings and reviews, and we just lost them all, and we're sorry for that.
What the vax?
We're sorry.
Erin, you each week bring something for us to consume as we talk about the movie, and today is no different. What did you whip up for us in today's delish
that
segment?
intro was a little bit funny because I did bring the Stepsister vax.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Whoa, hold on. Wait, it looks a whole lot like a root beer float. Is it a root beer float?
You could get Bran to take anything if it was a root beer float.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So I did bring a root beer float. Spoiler alert, they are from a gaseous bubble planet, and so when they are on Earth, they need to consume a lot of CO2. Cosmo Cola's
You mean Cosmo Cola?
Cosmo Cola's favorite form of CO2 is root beer, and I figured...
It's one of mine as well.
Yeah,
It is. You're a big root beer. What kind of root beer do we go with here?
We went with the bottle, but not with...
Not with Barks.
No, they didn't have Barks.
IBC.
Yeah, they didn't have any of
Hanks.
that. We went with genuine Hanks Philadelphia style.
Thank you, because
Come
a
on,
lot
you know,
of
here's the
people
thing.
have been pushing
Is-
fake
Yeah.
Hanks.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yes.
people have been saying, we've got the Hanks, and I'm
But
like,
you know
do you?
what?
Do you?
You
Do ya?
also, and you know this, you hate the Chicago style root beer.
Oh, I hate it.
Philadelphia style root beer,
Yeah. Thank
God.
absolutely.
They want you to know that
But God, there's
they were
people in
very
Genuine
proud about their-
Hanks,
Yeah.
straight from Philly,
That's right.
Yeah.
poured into my mouth.
Real root beer.
And then we have vanilla ice cream.
Some vanilla bean ice cream.
Vanilla bean ice cream.
Haagen-Dazs.
It's very, very nice.
Okay, all right.
Let's
Here we go.
delish.
Delish.
It is
I love a root beer float.
amazing.
Take a breath over there, buddy.
It is amazing. I do honestly think that it is one of the best things that the world has to offer. Because it is too, like...
Parlor Donuts, you get yourself out of here. Root beer float.
I'm not kidding you.
I'm gonna punch you.
I would
I'm gonna
pick
punch
a
you- I'm
root
gonna
beer
punch you in the
float
face.
over a parlor donut
You have
any day of the
lost
week and
your
twice on
mind.
Monday and Sunday.
Out
Any
your
day,
damn
really.
mind.
I just think it's perfect. I don't think there's a lot of two separate things that if you combine those two separate things, it makes both of those two things better.
Peanut
Bread
butter
and
and jelly.
cheese.
Say it again.
But you said jolly. I don't know what that is.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly?
And it's one of the reasons why I love it. I love simple things that are two
Bread
things
and
that
cheese?
on their
You
own
think
are
bread
good.
and cheese are better apart
So
than
good.
separate?
No, put them together.
Bread and cheese?
Bread and cheese are better
Like
together.
grilled cheese?
Like pizza or cheese bread,
Charcuterie board.
charcuterie board.
Yeah, but all of that,
Bread and cheese together are better than separate.
yeah,
Right?
I would agree.
Okay.
Stronger together, even.
Yeah.
Stronger.
I just think it is two simple things.
How often do you have a root beer float? Brad?
Not often. Not often enough.
Yeah, I was about to say, like you're raving. Do
I know.
you go to home every weekend and float it up?
I don't go to home every weekend and float it up. No, I don't. I go to your home every weekend and float it up in the pool.
You did in there?
I am good at that. We'll be right back. We'll talk about
Taking a break
Stepsister
already. All right,
from
cool,
Planet
cool.
Weird.
Got it.
Here on
Decom Descendants.
It's nuts, man. It's nuts.
It's nuts.
Welcome back, everybody.
There are no nuts. in the root
No nuts here.
beer. So Brian, you
Brian
can
could have
one.
them.
Brian could have
Brian
one.
could have a root beer float. Brian, you like a root beer float?
I did offer for the world. I did offer Brian one.
Brian
I wanted him to
says
feel
that
included.
Like he had one once as a child.
Yeah, and also he
Brian
said
said no.
Brian was
Been a-
8. He had a root beer float. He was like,
This is good.
I mean,
You
empty
were offered
calories,
one
but
today?
Good, I guess.
I
Yes.
offered him one. He said
you
no.
said no? Yeah.
He did finish an entire water bottle, so he's full.
Yeah. That's
so
it.
far today you've turned down pizza, cheese bread,
Donuts.
Donuts.
and root beer
and a root beer float. And so
those of you
that
that
you
like-
wouldn't get too full after drinking your weird looking smoothie and your water.
For those of you that like Brian, I don't know what to tell. Like,
And
I
for
don't know
those of you
what
that are listening
you're
to
talking
this, and
about.
this is the only thing you listen to us, and you don't know who Brian is, it's
That's
better that way.
Yeah.
I envy you.
Yeah, that one review that said Dan is just there. Well, Brian is just there.
Like, imagine knowing someone that in one singular day turned down pizza, cheese bread, donuts, and a root beer float.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to know that person.
That's crazy.
And yet you hired him.
What's crazy is
I hired him. That's true.
What's crazy is I turned down none of them. I said, give me actually.
I said yes to everything you listed there. Yes,
I did too.
Yeah. We all get it.
I maybe said yes to too many donuts, but I'm living with it.
Who hasn't?
There's
Who hasn't?
no. Yeah.
I'm not mad about it.
One 6 too many donuts.
1-6.
Brian is from Planet. Maybe Brian's from Planet Weird. Maybe he's just a gaseous bubble.
Maybe. How do you, Brian? How do you feel about wind? Wind? Yeah.
Pro or con?
Pro or against? Is that what you were going to say? Are you pro or against it?
Pro or con?
Are you
He's
for
pro
or
wind.
con?
All right.
He's pro wind. All right.
Let's talk Stepsister from Planet Weird. Premiered on the Hallmark Channel. Premiered on Disney Channel on June.
Hallmark was trying something
they
new.
wish. They freaking wish. On June 17th, 2000. Directed by Steve Boyum. Starring Courtney Draper.
Yep.
Tamara Hope, Lance Guest, and a name I'm not gonna try.
Kristen.
What? No freaking way.
It's tough. Sometimes it's tough to say the
That's great. No, you're right. It probably is.
To say the word Kristen.
This I've never like.
It's the one that's
CHRYSTYNE.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Christine.
Yeah.
I think Christine Haji. Is that who that was?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said it on the Take of the Tape where you can watch these movies live.
Yeah, we were given some recognition to the credits.
That's right. Too many letters for a name.
And Courtney's 2 E's, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Courtney
Draper. All right. We meet Megan Larson.
Played by Courtney.
Yes, Courtney. Courtney. Yep. And Megan Larson is 14 years old. She loves windsurfing. You need to know that about her.
She's a rip girl. She's a regular
She is a
rip girl.
One might say she rips. And I do think it's important. You don't realize at the beginning of this movie how important it is that she windsurfs and how much will come
That's
of
right.
windsurfing.
It looks like it's just a hobby.
I think she windsurfs more than they surf in Rip Girls.
I think she does too. I also think that of the 18 movies we've watched, the amount of surfing or surfing adjacent plot lines we've had is way more than I thought we were going to have. I thought maybe in the 100 movies we watched, we'd have what we already have in the way of surfing adjacent, snowboarding, rollerblading, surfing, windsurfing.
I do think it dies down.
Do you think so?
Surfing adjacent.
Okay. All right. Great. Because it's been a lot.
They came out of the gate hard.
Yeah, because I can't really think of another one.
No. I mean, next week is something about running or something. What is it?
Ready to Run.
Ready to Run. That can't be a water movie.
There's
right?
no way.
Can't be. Baby, you're ready to run. I'll save it for next week. I don't know how much left I have since I did it all there. She at the beginning of this movie, we see she has a friend named Cutter. And we're like, oh, who's Cutter? They're close. They're not close because this is all a dream. She dreams that her parents aren't actually divorced. Her dad is a workaholic, Crispin Glover type. And they are, though. And it womps. We hate that. We hate the divorce.
But
it's a real bummer.
Hate it. They are cool with it. They honor the fact that he's a workaholic is just like that's what he chose to do.
He does. Yeah. We love that about him.
And they still get along raising the kids. They're just happier apart.
Mom's pretty much raising
I don't know
the
if
kids,
he does much raising.
Well, they spend a weekend a month at his house or something.
That's not right. You do whatever you want to. It's not raising. So sorry, Brandon@thehomer.com. You can take it up,
please.
I'm sorry. I overstepped.
The guy that has his kids one weekend a month definitely calls it babysitting.
Yeah, for sure.
He's the guy that's like, I got to babysit.
I got to babysit this weekend.
The missus has a night out. I'm on daddy duty. That's what that guy says.
I am more on board with that because in the movie, skipping ahead a bit, when he comes to pick them up for his weekend, he is like, I can't do this right now.
That's right. That's true. That's true.
That's tough.
He doesn't even babysit.
Yeah, I'm back on board. Okay, moving on.
So Megan's mom also loves windsurfing.
Yes.
Almost as much as Megan.
No, Megan says she loves it almost as much as her mom. There's only one person who loves windsurfing more than her.
There's a mutual love, for sure. Now, ever since the divorce, Mom has been a little bit weird. Is she from Planet Weird?
Is she?
Who can say? She's been making soup for breakfast.
With a side of crackers.
Yes. And just kind of like being...
Do we ever get an explanation for that?
You know what? I was just thinking about how this doesn't matter.
At all. Why do we have to say that she's weird?
It's like they had one scene to show us that Mom was a little kooky, and they were like,
maybe
soup for breakfast?
Okay, maybe it was their way of like saying, so she's weird, so she'd be more inclined to give Cosmic Cola a chance. Yes, I called him Cosmic Cola.
Cosmic Cola. Would drink.
Yeah. It'd be awesome. It's Cosmic Brownie. Carbonated.
I'm out.
I'm gonna be sick.
I was in on the idea of a Cosmic Cola until you described it as such, and I am out.
Yep, that's fair. Stomach's gonna be sick.
Speaking of weird, we do actually.
Erin's on a limit here, so like if we could not.
Yeah, that's the limit is Cosmic Brownie Cola. We can't do it today. Yeah. Maybe tomorrow. It's a light day. We also meet Cutter, who's also kind of weird, and by weird I mean just dumb. He's super dumb.
Well, the poor guy's an Australian trying to act American, and
but also act Australian. He's trying to act like an Australian. He's an Australian acting like an American who's trying to epitomize like an Australian surfer.
Yeah,
and he
also a meathead.
He should have just been an Australian surfer.
Yes.
We're in Australia again this week.
Yeah.
Clearly, and we're
pretending
it's
California, but.
Yeah.
Everyone is Australian except for Courtney and her family.
It's very weird. So Megan,
they're not supposed to be though. Like they're supposed to be American.
Yeah.
Like, these people are trying to pass as American.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I mean, like the main cast is American, but everybody else in this movie is Australian.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. So one day, Megan's mom is windsurfing. She loves it. Again, so much windsurfing so far. And this dude, Cosmo Cola, that's his name. Don't forget it. Comes running into the water.
Full name only.
Concerned about her because of the wind.
Yes.
He like sees this woman being pulled to and fro with the wind.
Thrown around by the wind.
And it's like, oh my gosh.
Must save her.
I have to rescue her. So they end up going on some dates, and they hit it off very well. Yes.
He is out in the water with her, and she's like, I'm fine. And he's like, you're so brave. Do you want some candy from my pocket?
That's been in the water.
It's Cosmo Cola. I don't know what to say.
And she is charmed by this.
But that would work, right? Like if somebody's just like, hey, like, hi, how's it going? Are you okay? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, hey, I also have candy.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd take it.
It's the candy.
It's candy.
So
I don't know.
You wouldn't take candy from a stranger?
That swam out to me. No.
Yeah.
I mean, so sweet. Thank you for trying to come save me.
I don't need saving, but the Kit Kat bar?
I would maybe go out to dinner later in a public area. But I don't know if you're bringing a little tin of sour Altoids from your pocket if I'm taking one.
Oh, sour Altoids slap.
They do slap. They hit pretty hard.
It depends on how airtight that tin is. If it's airtight and he opens it up and the
sour Altoids. Do they still make sour Altoids? I was about to say.
No, but that's what the tin reminded me of.
Because that is, how dare you? You're just bringing stuff up that we can't actually get.
It's messed up, man.
That's unbelievable. That is messed up.
Cosmic Cola.
Cosmic Cola. So they end up going on some dates, and they're hitting it off really well. And so now is the time for the two families to meet. They're going to come over for dinner to their house. And so he and his daughter, Ariel, are coming over for dinner, and he comes in and he's weird. And Megan's like, this guy is weird.
He's bringing in a 24-pack of root beer.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got so much root beer of root beer with him. And I'm like, this is the best dinner guest ever.
And I swear, if it's not genuine and from
Philadelphia style root beer, if you bring any of that Hoboken style root beer
I'd send them out.
Oh, F you, man.
You know, you like why?
Yeah, don't even start it on West Coast root beer. Ugh.
Bargain.
Pretty sure it's hemp based. Ugh.
Bargain beer.
It's bargain based.
Bargain based.
It's based on a bargain.
It's based on
I think you're looking for bargain basement, but bargain based.
Yes.
Bargain based. Yeah, I'm on board.
So, but Ariel is nowhere to be found, and so Megan goes out and finds Ariel underneath the car, and she just says, "I'm afraid of the wind."
I'm afraid of the wind.
And it's at this point that we begin to see the story thus far from Ariel's point of view. And so
it rewinds the whole movie.
Real fun rewind.
It's a rewind bit, and I'm sure we won't see it again. And so,
you know how you can make an 87-minute movie feel like it lasts double that, the rewind bit.
Yeah.
That's how you can do it.
And so we find out, the viewers, why Ariel is so weird. And it is because Ariel and her dad are not from here. They're from Planet Weird. Actually.
They're from the Yukon.
Yes. Also, planet, how do you say it?
Zircalon.
Zircalon? Whatever. And
Zircalon.
They
come on.
Zurcalon.
It's ZIR, right? ZUR?
According to Wikipedia, it's ZIR.
Yeah, come on. Read a book.
Well, the captions during the movie said ZUR.
All right. Oh, a little bit of a battle here. So we find out that on this planet they live in a gaseous state.
They are
bubbles.
Floating
They're
bubble
bubbles.
heads.
They're bubbles. And there was a bit of an uprising. And there was an Emperor Zlad.
We'll meet him later. Don't worry.
He's
Australian.
He's a baddie. He's a baddie, and they have been fighting against him. And in the process of this,
he's a freedom fighter.
Mom died, and Dad
her bubble popped.
Her bubble popped.
He's met the big bubble in the sky.
Absolutely. And
it's a great scene.
These gaseous bubbles prefer it. Yep. They live as gaseous bubbles in between solid and liquid.
They were being chased by other gassy bubbles flying
with
planes.
Lasers.
Yes, that fly gaseous bubble planes with lasers.
And one of them hit Mommy.
And she popped.
Mom popped.
Mommy popped.
Yeah.
Mom took an antacids.
And
she just... She met the big Prilosec in the sky.
And even though Mom died and it would be easier to just, stay put, hunker down, hope for the best.
Yeah.
Especially because she has a boyfriend, Fanul.
My boyfriend, Fanul.
Dad decides we have to leave and go find a new home.
Well, they can't stay because he's a freedom fighter and he's going to be imprisoned. He's going to be frozen for eternity.
And I hate that for him.
So
they are going to
once you turn solid,
California, Australia,
California it is. And so they're in obviously human bodies now.
Because they can do that.
They haven't
Ariel hates it.
Yeah.
She hates it. She thinks that this is a much worse state to be in.
I think she calls herself grotesque.
Yes, she does.
She used a lot of big words.
So the way that she talks is huge. Just weird.
Yes. The way that everybody in the movie talks.
But Dad doesn't really talk that way. Doesn't. He does say some
he's
things.
More quirky.
Yes.
But she acts like she has never heard a human speak, but has only read Shakespeare.
That's right. Got the thesaurus out. She has got all kinds of words for us.
The good news is that whenever you are feeling overwhelmed or you just need a break from your human body, you can go into the sink and fill it with water.
Can you go in the tub?
I wouldn't.
Hell no. I would. Can you go somewhere where you can have 10 times as much water? Hell no. That's stupid. Why would you do that? You're a gaseous bubble. The sink is fine.
The ocean that you windsurf in, wouldn't want to.
Not on your best day. The
sink does enough for us.
Betcha.
So, again, we don't actually see the process in which it happens, but basically, from my understanding, sink's enough. And you become bubble again, and you can
sink's
kind of
enough. Sink's enough.
Just float on top of that little puddle of water. What happens to your human body and your clothes? We don't know.
But when you come back into them, they are soaking wet.
That's
right.
Yes.
Like you've been in a bathtub or an ocean, not in a sink.
Yeah.
Anywho.
But this happens at dinner. She turns into a sink bubble. Yes. And she does, when they ask her, why are you all wet? She does say, I fell into the sink.
My favorite moment of any podcast we ever record is Bran confidently using whom instead of who in the wrong context.
Yeah. So
it's like Job in Arrested Development trying to say circumvent. Pardon me while I circumvent you. That's what it is. You know what I'm talking about. That's exactly what it is every time. Anywho.
Brian, do you want some root beer float?
Cut back to the dinner, and Ariel finally comes out of hiding from the wind, and
into the sink.
At dinner,
out of the wind into the sink,
they announce that they are going to get married.
Get married.
Yes.
Yes.
The kids.
Shockingly, these kids are all blind because mom has apparently been wearing a giant diamond.
Just like a foot. Yes.
Apparently, diamonds are like just gravel pebbles on this gaseous planet.
That's right. They do have solids on their gaseous planet.
So they show up here to Earth and they have just bukus of diamonds everywhere.
Because they took them with them, of course.
So they've been selling them for,
It'd be like if we took dirt with us to another planet.
And they were like, oh my gosh, dirt. Yeah, so apparently I think that's where he got the ring. But yeah, no one noticed that mom was wearing this huge diamond all night long.
So they're not happy about this.
Yeah.
And, Megan thinks that Ariel is super weird. Ariel thinks that Megan is basically a villain, just really mean. And so Ariel, the time has come. Everyone knows when you come to a new planet, you
go to the sink if you want to be in a gas orb, then you get a solid, and then
eventually, when you're ready, you go to school.
That's right.
Yes. Has she been in school up to this point?
Does she have any identifying documentation? We don't know. She's going to school.
And they didn't care about that in 2000.
She, wears lots of different layers of clothes to quote unquote protect her essence. She rides a bike with training wheels and a football helmet and flips over.
Doesn't know how to stop.
Megan is like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed.
Megan is trying so hard to fit in with the cool kids.
Yes.
Like, she doesn't have a ton of friends at school.
This isn't what I need right now.
She wants to be one of the popular girls. She wants to date Cutter. And she's like, this girl is so weird. It's going to bring my social standing down.
And it doesn't really matter to her because it has no effect. But people love Ariel.
Love
Ariel. Ninth grade girls in particular are not passive aggressive or judgmental.
No, for ninth grade girls, I will speak on this. When a new girl shows up and wears mismatched clothes, tells me that I'm grotesque looking and wants to go back to her planet, I'm like, yes, you be you. Let's embrace this.
That's right. Yeah, you're cool. How do we do everything the way you do it?
Miss Independent.
Yes.
Gaseous bubble.
There would have been no avoiding her, whispering about her in the hallway.
None.
She would have been embraced fully.
They make shirts really quick about protecting essence. They all start wearing football helmets to ride bikes. I don't know where they got all these football helmets.
In this movie, Megan is the only ninth grade teenage girl who's judgmental.
All the boys are like, she's hot. Megan's best friend is like, dude, you're the weird one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, you would have to feel like you're being gaslit. You would have to go home and be like, I'm crazy. I'm going
this
crazy.
Is a bit. The whole town is in on it.
And it's not even just the kids obviously think she's cool. The teachers think that she's poetic. Everybody is
she knows math really well.
So happy.
Poetic scene?
Yeah, go ahead.
Megan follows Ariel into the bathroom and Ariel is made a soap bubble and is talking to the soap bubble. Yeah. So Megan goes and gets a teacher to be like, you have to come see this weird behavior. And they get in there and Ariel is like, oh, Fanul, I love you so much. And then Megan's like, she's talking to a bubble. And she's just like, that bubble was my one true love. And the teacher's like, yeah, Megan, it was her one true love. She's poetic.
Pretty much every teacher would be like, let's get you to the counselor. Let's get you over to the we've got the counselor. Let's take you to the counselor. That's what would happen there.
You could be a poetic, sensitive soul, but if you're taking time out of class to go tell bubbles you love them, we should maybe talk about it.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that could happen, everything else, bummer, of course, but it seems like Cutter has taken a liking to Ariel, and
at least that's what Megan thinks.
Yes,
I don't think that's happening, but I think that's what Megan thinks.
No, it does it does happen. I mean, when she's teaching Ariel to windsurf, Cutter does ask Ariel to be his girlfriend.
Oh, okay. I thought they were talking about Megan in that conversation. So I very easily could have missed it.
You did miss it. He does ask her to be his girlfriend.
That's right. And she's like, you're vapid and you're whatever.
And you're shallow. And she's
like, I can be those things.
He's like, I might be shallow and I don't know what vapid means, but I could be that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
It's a good scene with Cutter.
Yeah, it's great. He's great. Cutter slaps in this movie. So they are talking to each other and they realize that we cannot become family. We just hate each other. We're too different. Yep. So they decide that they're going to work together to try to split
reverse parent trap
their
situation.
Parents up. Yes. They have this whole plan. Basically, they're going to try to get mom to act a certain way and then get mad when Cosmic Cola doesn't respond the right way. And then they're going to have Cosmic Cola try to be like a manly man who wears a cowboy hat.
Yeah, they do something before then, though, don't they?
Well, the mom is all of a sudden
take pictures to make them act like friends.
Yeah, they're trying to assume. Yeah. They want them to think that they're friends, so they won't assume think that they're.
The girls do like a photo shoot together. They write a song together.
Which is actually a pretty good song.
Megan plays the guitar, and Ariel has a beautiful singing voice.
Of course. With the plan being like, hey, we can do things, and they won't be like, hey, it's the daughters. They're trying to split us up. They wouldn't do that.
Like,
no,
they're
friends.
so happy together. Right. But yeah, they tell the mom. She's trying to be serious. I can't remember that conversation I had with the mom, but the mom starts reading like poetry.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, he's really deep. He wants you to like get to his level with poetry."
So she's trying to read poetry, and Cosmo just wants to watch The Lion King
and Hollywood Squares, which fair. Hollywood Squares was amazing.
Cosmo wants to watch what I believe is a Lion King TV show on Disney, not even the movie Lion King. That wasn't even Nathan Lane. It was like a different Lion King scene. Maybe it was like Lion King 1.5. It wasn't even from the original.
Was The Lion King in the vault at that time?
Ooh, could have been in the vault. Even for Disney? Disney can't access its own... Wait a minute.
I don't know.
When something goes in the vault, Disney can't access its own vault?
There was one time when I was a teacher at an elementary school. Every Friday after school for the program, we would show a movie, and one girl like desperately wanted to watch The Lion King. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. That movie's got to be so easy to find. No, it was in the vault, and you couldn't find it anywhere. No digital copy.
It's Disney Vault.
It was the only, growing up, I'd always heard about, like, get this now before it goes into the vault. And I just thought it was a bunch
Angels
of
in the Outfield's in the vault.
I just thought it was
Angels in the Outfield's in the vault.
I thought the vault was made up until, like,
how are we
10
still
years
doing
ago.
This vault thing?
I tried to buy The Lion King to make a little 8-year-old girl's dreams come true, and Disney said, not on my life.
Does Disney, do you think you're cute? You think you're cute with your vault?
I just wanted to watch The Lion King.
Disney
now,
vault.
do I own The Lion King on VHS? Yes, I do, but the school did not have a VHS player, so it was DVD or digital streaming.
And to make matters
Disney
worse,
no.
Disney put all the VHS players, VCRs if you will, in the vault as well. They bought them all up, they put them in the vault.
Yeah, so my whole life I thought the vault was a joke, and then I was like, no, I think this is real.
The vault. The people at Disney are just like sitting around laughing at how they can try to keep content and things from people.
They were monitoring my Google search, being like, "Look at her trying to find Lion King."
Hilarious. She thinks she's getting in the vault. Okay.
You guys think there's a literal vault?
I think there probably is. Knowing them.
Oh, I don't know what's in it, but there is sure a vault with secrets in it.
Yeah.
Is there
most of them racist, I would say.
Disney vault. You're telling me that they got the Lion King and the racism in the same vault?
I'm saying
different vaults, right?
Yeah, I think the Lion King's in a different vault for sure.
There's one vault for Lion King, one vault for Songs of the South.
Walt's vault is the racist vault.
Songs of the South.
Song of the South.
Briar Rabbit.
Willie. Yes. Yeah. Briar Rabbit even. Briar Rabbit could be there if you wanted him to. I don't know Briar Rabbit personally, but if you know Briar Rabbit, please, by all means.
I don't.
Briar Rabbit.
All right, back to this movie.
Anywho, that plan doesn't work, so they hatch another plan, which is to get Cosmo to fall in love with their weird neighbor, Serena Sue, and for Mom to fall back in love with Dad.
Serena Sue is the Cola's neighbor.
Yes.
Correct? Yes, okay.
Yep.
This plan does not work. However, Megan's dad does end up digging
Serena
Sue. So
yeah, we've got that great pickup line of no one's ever cleaned my aura before.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Hey.
No, thank you.
No one's ever cleaned my aura before either, and it can stay that way.
Yes, that's
All right. Okay.
all right. It's rare rabbit.
We tried to introduce you to Michael, and you said no.
You said no.
So
You
then
actively were against it.
Then they
Actively were
tried.
against Michael.
Yeah. Then they try.
Hey, Dan, can you just take a look at camera 2 real quick?
So
You look great, Bran.
thank you.
You look amazing.
So Ariel is feeling overwhelmed and ends up running to the bathroom, spend some time as Bubble.
In her bubble?
In her bubble.
She's spending some
as
time
Bubble.
in a guy's bubble?
No,
Oh,
no,
shit.
as her own bubble. And at this point, Megan runs in, sees her in her bubble state,
Yes.
and runs and tries to convince everybody.
Oh my
that
gosh, she's an alien.
She's
She's
a
a
bubble.
bubble.
What did Megan do before this movie to lose all credibility with everyone?
13th year.
Megan,
That's true.
literally, everything she says, they're like, no, that can't be true. Megan, you're crazy.
Well, it's
Why
like,
did
it's
Megan
like
make
she
that
went
up?
away to summer camp. She spent a year with Dad. This is what happened. She spent a year
Okay.
with Dad, fell in love with a merman.
whose dad is Richard Karn.
And
Yeah.
she came home and was like, Mom, you'll never guess what happened to me last school year. I fell in love with a merman. And her mom was like, that's it. Dad only gets you 1 weekend a month.
Yeah, enough of that.
I'm never listening to you again.
And then she pops in and she's like, Ariel's a bubble. And you're like, come
Oh,
on.
here she
and
goes
Ariel comes
Megan.
out soaking
Yes.
wet, and she's like, Ariel.
That's crazy.
Megan with her stories again, her water stories.
Megan ends up in therapy.
Yeah.
So there is now
She was
nothing.
a bubble. She was.
There's now nothing that they
Is
can
the
do.
bubble in the room with us now?
There's now nothing that they can do, and so it is the day of the wedding. And you know, as you do with wedding, you party first,
Yeah.
mingle with everybody.
I do want the number of Megan's therapists, because she apparently has one therapy session, and now it's the morning of the wedding, and she's like, is there anything I can say to convince you he's an alien? And Mom's like, no. And she's like, as long as you're happy.
She's so cool.
And she just like moves on.
And
I don't know, if I thought my mom was marrying a bubble alien, I think I'd be a little more vocal.
I mean, she did all she could.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't believe a
as
word
of
she says
now,
about
as of
anything.
now, though, she just thinks that Alice is like she doesn't really know, right? That Dad is also an alien.
I mean, I think she
Do they have the
assumes-
conversation?
I think
about
Ariel
who she
says
is?
something, right?
I don't remember. Do you remember, Erin?
I mean, they don't. I mean, at this right
I
before
feel
the
like
wedding,
right
I mean,
before the wedding, when Fenol shows up, I think she tells her everything. But I think,
Yeah, I mean-
still at the point of the
I
wedding
mean, she
day,
has to assume Cosmo is an alien.
who can say though? You know, just because Cosmo's daughter's an alien.
If I would have
That's
assumed.
It's quite an
Knowing
interesting branch to be out on there.
If I was Megan, this guy who drinks root beer in his cereal, and like, I would have assumed he was an alien.
I think if Ariel is much more normal than Cosmo.
Yeah, and if I
is.
walked in on Herbie and Bubble, I'd be like, "Oh, your dad's also
yes,
Bubble."
you are Bubble, your dad is Bubble.
We're all
Yes.
we you us bubble.
yes.
It's the day of the wedding,
Yep.
and Alice is bummed.
We're all hanging out
that
in the
this is
backyard
happening.
where the ceremony's going to take place.
Because Alice is beginning to realize she's never going home, but she is then greeted by boyfriend
Fanul.
Fanul.
Because she sends word to him going, please,
Yeah.
please,
Send
I
money.
need to see you, but don't tell your dad who's the emperor of all.
Yeah, it was
all
a whole
of it.
star-crossed lovers bit.
Yes, yes.
A lot
Yeah.
of diva.
And she's like, Dad, I have to talk to Fanul. And he's like, no, because then his dad's going to come arrest
Yeah,
me.
don't. And she
she's
does
like,
say,
she's like, Fanul loves me. He would not
He would
tell
never.
his dad.
Fanul tells
he
dad
does tell
immediately.
his
Yeah,
dad,
and
yeah.
they show up. And
Yeah, they show up. And so he says, hey, Fanul, make sure she doesn't leave this room. I'm going to go find Cosmic.
Cosmo.
Cosmo Kramer.
Cosmo
Who
Cola.
has an alien name that I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't remember either. And so at this point, Megan comes in. Fanul's like, let me check you out.
Yeah, she comes
boy,
in,
does
she's
he.
like, what's happening? And then she looks over at Fanul, and Fanul is giving her a look-see.
Giving her a once over.
Also,
and a twice over even.
Slow motion once over.
He is excited about this brown head.
and also Cutter shows up.
Yeah.
Yes,
'Cause-
he's like, yo. Well, no, Cutter, Megan and Cutter go to find Ariel because she's late
Yes.
for the ceremony. Cutter starts talking to Fanul's dad, And so Megan goes off, and then Fanul's dad is just annoyed by Cutter, so he brings him.
Also, sidebar, this wedding hasn't happened yet, but everyone is dressed for wedding and
they're
is
hanging out in the backyard.
outside,
Bride,
hanging
groom,
out,
everyone's in the
planning
backyard.
wedding.
Yeah.
So bride in gown, groom in tux.
With root beer. I'll help you bring in the root beer.
Planning the party, like coordinating where everything goes.
Yeah.
That's the most alien part of this movie is the day of your wedding, there's a party and you are doing the setup for it in your...
It's a second marriage for both of them. They're very laid back in California.
Laid back,
just like, bring in the
I don't
root
care
beer.
if it's your fifth wedding. That is weird. I'm going to get in my tux and then go and set up the chairs for the reception?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So they hatch.
We'll host a wedding in your backyard. We'll,
That's right.
we'll
Yeah,
try
that's
it out.
small wedding, very small wedding.
So the kids hatch a plan to basically teach Fanul about America and
freedom.
the freedom of
You hear
choice.
Cooper doing a bit with him about like, look at all the things you can do. We got 18 types of potato chips.
Yeah. And he's
Call him
like,
Cooper?
it's Cutter.
Cutter, whatever. Cooper Cooper.
Kata.
That's his name.
And so who can really not give in to the beauty?
And we have all these like recreational activities.
It's America.
And
Who doesn't want to be
Fanul
here?
does like the idea of recreating.
The fact that
says.
we have to go this hard to sell someone who is a bubble into being not bubble is crazy to me. You can be bubble.
He is Bubble.
Or you can have a full human body and experience all kinds of things, or you could just be bubble.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's your prerogative. I mean, you can't tell someone like
That's right.
that they can't enjoy their own life.
Yeah, I think that's true in a normal circumstance.
Cosmo likes the human body. Alice doesn't. Everybody is going to... Ariel.
Anyone with two brain cells can see that not bubble is better than bubble.
We've
they
only...
had a good time floating
Hold
around.
on, Dan. That's not true.
It is true.
We haven't seen enough of what bubble life is like. They float around, which is pretty dope. Can you do that?
Says all we do is float around all day.
Yeah, if
That's
you
it.
like that...
And if you like that, then that's your life.
all they do.
Don't
They
listen
can't
to
do
Daniel.
anything. They can't walk. They can't walk. They just float.
Some people like eating pizza, cheese bread, donuts, root beer floating one day. Some people say no.
That's right. 4 different things. They can't even eat their bubble. They are bubble.
Yeah.
It is not a normal
It
circumstance
is
here.
a smart house, and they are Bubble.
They are bubble.
I don't know why this is hard
And it
for
is
you to get.
bubble.
Right.
Listen, I know it's a hot take, and people can call me whatever kind of names they want to call me. They say that I just am not progressing with the rest of the world, but bubbles are inferior to humans.
Oh, no.
That is
I
a
said
hot
it.
take I didn't see coming from
Bubbles are inferior to humans in every way, aside from the whole floating thing. Aside from that,
you. Except for one way.
human beings are better than bubbles. So kick me off the show. I dare you.
Do Bubbles have to pay student loans?
Ooh. See, now we're in it.
Do they get help? Do they get free
go to
health care?
Bubble school? I don't like. What do they need health
Do
care
they
for?
have
They
free
are bubble.
healthcare?
Everybody gets boo-boos.
Where? Where are they getting the boo? Where's the bubble boo boo?
Okay,
All over Bubble.
I can be on board with this because I'm also remembering that Bubbles can't have pet dogs. So
Oh, yeah.
Bubbles are inferior to humans.
They convinced Fanul to let them out and to go and stop
and
their dad.
not only let him out, but to go attack his dad.
Yes, and Dad has found Cosmo Cola.
Yep.
And is, he's now frozen him.
Well, he's trying to force him through the portal grid.
Right.
And he then freezes him.
He
And
freezes.
I got to be honest. Unless somebody can come up with 3 to 5 hair dryers quickly, there's going to be a problem.
The good news is, Dan, is they do.
Thank God.
Fanul, Ariel.
Well, Fanul and Megan come running out, or Fanul comes running out, and Dad's like, "Oh, did you bring the girl? Because we're hightailing it out of here." And he's like, "Yes, I did." And it's Megan, and Dad's like, "That's not who I wanted." And she's like, "You better let my stepdad
People go.
And that's when they're
Megan is
buying
the
time
Moses
so
of
that
Bubbles.
Cutter and Ariel can find 4 hair dryers in the house
Which they find.
and some extension cords.
And they begin to
Plural? I don't think so.
blow.
there was a bunch of cords.
A bunch of cords for each dryer just dangling.
I don't have 4 hair dryers in my house. I would be out of luck.
They turn them on. They begin to blow the hot air from hairdryer in the direction, you might say wind, in the direction
Yeah, some hot wind.
of Vladi Divac. And it is clearly he's having a tough time with this, but it's nothing that he can't handle.
No.
And that is at this point.
It does force him into his bubble state.
Yes,
That's right.
of course, as it does. And he's kind of expanding, but he's still.
But he's
there.
like, ha ha ha.
Here's the thing: is they're also in real trouble if somebody doesn't have a leaf blower.
Well,
Let me tell you.
Megan's brother,
What?
who we haven't mentioned yet, does come in with the leaf blower to save the day, blows him literally to smithereens.
Blows him to smithereens.
Yeah. He expands so much he pops like mommy.
Like mommy.
R.I.P. Obviously, the lack of tact there was unbelievable.
Their commitment to calling Ariel's mom mommy, both Cosmo and Ariel. Yeah, I did not like it.
Mommy bubble.
I'll always love mommy.
So they, including Fenol, all go to a wedding. He's fine. He doesn't really care about his dad blowing up. They go to wedding. They party. Fenol and Brownhead Megan dance.
Our lead, Brownhead.
Ariel and Cutter, they dance.
Welcome back, Cutter.
And
yeah,
that's the movie.
Megan is, at this point, Fenol has like shed his suit jacket. He's out there loose shirt,
loose shirt.
Like he's just having. It's been a party apparently.
It's a loose shirt.
And they're dancing real close, and she's like, "Do you really have to go back to?" What is it? I've already forgotten.
Bubble World?
Yeah, I've already forgotten.
Zircalon.
And he's like, yeah, well, with my dad dead, like, someone's got to be in charge. But, like, don't worry, baby girl, I'll be back.
They can go to and fro.
That's right. When they want to watch live sports, they come back here.
The portal grid.
But can I ask you guys this question? Is if a human goes through the portal into Zircalon, do they become bubble?
They have to.
Or like, is that something that you can learn?
What's wild
can you learn to be bubble?
Even when they're through the portal, they go back, like they can turn back to bubble when they want to.
Well,
they can turn back to bubble whenever there's a sink.
Zircalon and be bubble. I think they can control. I can't be a gas, but a gas can become a solid.
What?
You think that they
have the ability to go back and forth, but we don't?
We could train.
Yeah, look.
All it is training.
If a bubble can do it, then we can do it.
Okay, guys.
We have the power of choice.
The bubbles go back and forth. I don't see any humans go back and forth.
Giving the bubbles more credit than they deserve.
Number 2, coming soon. We'll be right back here on The Common Sentence.
Check the homework.
Welcome back, all you weirdos out there.
And stepsisters.
Talking stepsister from Planet Weirds. It is time for Overtime. It is where we talk about how this movie aged over time, give our thoughts on it. I do have some Letterboxd reviews from the folks who have watched
Very
this
excited
movie.
about this.
Watched a movie and chose to go to Letterboxd to leave a review. Zara says 4.5 stars. The quote, the bubble, that bubble, as you so patronizingly call it, is the love of my life. Is literally one of the best lines of dialogue I've heard. I'm truly obsessed with it.
That's the scene in the bathroom.
Abraham says 2 stars. They literally overthrew a government in 1 minute.
Yes.
Laura Dean says 3.5 stars. A lot of you grew up without having seen the true majesty of bubble aliens, and it shows.
Yep.
Emily says 2 stars. Divorce, windsurfing, bubble aliens who love soda and fear wind. Truly one of the most crack-headed decoms of all time.
Yes.
Letty says 3 stars. I wish a bubble would fall in love with me. Ash says for a girl supposedly from Planet Weird, she's only barely quirky. CO2 says wins the Criterion release, and Paolo Caron says sad music plays. Your mother was an extraordinary bubble.
Also a 10 out of 10 line in this movie.
Lots to
unpack
laugh, lots to digest, lots to take in, lots to discuss. Let's do that. Erin, you had seen it before.
Yes.
You have seen it now. Your thoughts on Stepsister from Planet Weird.
Yeah. This is a movie that I have thought about a lot throughout my life, mainly because it's one of the few DComs that my dad watched with me. and he has never gotten over Cutter.
He's the character that he can't get over.
Cutter.
That is my dad watched it with me and was like, heaven help me if you ever date a Cutter. And he's just never forgotten it. He could not tell you the name of this movie. He could not tell you anything about this movie, but he has never forgotten Cutter. And so I have never forgotten Cutter. Every time I date a guy, my dad will be like, and I'm like, he's not Cutter. Like, we're
really
fine.
You guys do that bit?
It comes up a lot.
Wow.
And the other thing was, both girls are kind of telling the story as they're writing in a diary. We get a lot of narration. And Megan has to write with pen and paper in her diary like a stupid human. And Ariel is an alien, and therefore she has basically like a pensive from Harry Potter almost, and she just kind of like pulls her memories into, and that's how she writes in her diary. And I said it to Dan while we were watching it, and I'm like, I would have kept up with the diary if that's all I had to do. Like, because it'd be great to revisit those memories, but I don't have time to write them all down. So
that's a lot.
But I think nowadays, talk to text is good enough. You could,
but I just remember being like, "Wow, that's so magical." Yeah. Other than that, this movie is weird, but unlike some of the DCOMs we've seen so far, it is like weird in a great way. Like, I had a really good time watching this. It's absurd. I will probably never watch it again, but I had a really good time watching it.
I agree for the most part. It is really weird. I would compare it to the other Alien movie that we've seen, Can of Worms, and where that movie is weird and unsettling, this is weird and like kind of adorable. And so it's bizarre. Like, I honestly, like, I'm mad I didn't come up with it, but also like I'd be worried if I did.
Well, it's based on a book.
Amazing.
I didn't know that.
That's crazy. That's
people
crazy.
People in the chat kept asking if I'd read it.
It's a very interesting movie that I don't really think, again, I agree. I don't think I ever need to see it again, but I'm happy that I did. Really weird stuff. But I didn't hate it. Dana?
I hated it. This movie is nonsensical. The words that people use to talk in this movie aren't words that people typically use to talk. It's very clear that everyone that's not in the main cast is Australian, and the Australian becomes more and more noticeable the longer the movie goes on.
By the end of the movie, they give up pretending they're in America.
Yeah, they are at an Outback
Fennell
Steakhouse with like a knife through a piece of like rye bread with like a bloomin' onion. Like, it is a full Crocodile Dundee situation by the end of this movie. And also, it commits the cardinal sin, which is it feels a lot longer than it is because they keep going back and giving you a different perspective. I appreciate the swing the movie's taking. I think Can of Worms, also not good. Better than this movie by a long shot. One of my least favorites that we've watched. And I got to be honest, I will be willing to admit that my opinion might be shaded by the fact that I couldn't get over Bubble Planet.
I will say, if you're looking for a good time, takethetape.com. Watching Dan watch the Bubble Planet for the first time.
It really is Smart House all over again.
Magical.
But Smart House is a good idea that they didn't fully become horror. But
I will recommend takethetape.com. Download
or BrambleJamPlus.com.
Yes.
But when they go and the
see.
planet that they're from is not Planet Weird, where we're just weird aliens. They are bubbles.
Well, that felt racist.
Sure did.
My robot voice for Planet Weird. I'd like to apologize to all the robots.
Yeah, you should.
Out there that say they're from Planet Weird.
I wasn't going to say anything, but
I know. I'll take it. I'll take it. You're right. Thanks for calling me out. Sorry, out there.
You've already disparaged the bubbles.
No, I stand by everything I said about bubbles. I have no apologies to give there. No F's to give. No apologies to give. But Bubble Planet, from that point forward, you couldn't win me back. It makes no sense. They just float around. They're being shot at by lasers from a ship that I think someone that is also a bubble is flying.
Yeah.
I couldn't get over Bubble Planet. That's where you lost me. If it was a planet with aliens that weren't bubbles, I think it would have been a little bit higher on my list than it ended up because I couldn't You just couldn't win me back, and that's unfortunate. It was really, really not my thing at all. Not why I do this. Not why I do this.
I have more questions. Watching it as an adult now, I question like the maturity of Mom and Cosmo being together because they're basically children. So who's raising the children?
I mean, she's giving soup for breakfast.
And Cosmo's pouring cola in his cereal. So I just have questions.
And to that point,
also, he has no documentation.
He has to come clean now to the woman.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you to do that before you do the vows. And I don't know if he does that. And so
when is the conversation like, hey, Megan's actually not crazy?
And Megan like actually saved my life. I was in the frozen state.
Yeah, I am an alien. Like there has to be.
Call that solid where I'm from. You guys.
Because Cutter, Faneuil, Ariel, Megan, and Trev all know that Ariel and Cosmo are aliens
everybody
now.
Aside from the person who's going to marry Cosmo.
And so there needs to be a conversation. But then I also wonder, like, how is Ariel enrolled in school? Mom makes a comment that Cosmo would like to become an American citizen. How? He has to my knowledge, has no documentation of being a person. No.
I mean, they could have an N in the Yukon. Like maybe that's legit. Like they have a gas guy who is stationed in the Yukon. And he is kind of your way in and out. They just picked the Yukon
because they think no one lives there.
Yeah, I'm just saying maybe it's not all.
I'm just saying all of this derives from Bubble Planet. I think that is where we got off track.
I have more questions.
Why has it got to be Bubble? Could be anything. That makes more sense than Bubble. Yeah. That was the thing.
Now this is a movie I saw I think twice. Around the time I saw it when it first came out, and then I think I saw it one more time because I was like, it wasn't really. No, Bubble Planet. It was in fact that. Haven't seen it since, and I 100% understand why I haven't seen it since.
It's time to make the list. Is where we decide where this movie is going to land in our overall ranking of all the movies so far. This is number 18, which means it may or may not break the top 10.
And if it doesn't make your top 10, you got to tell where you put it.
You got to tell everybody where you put it. I'll start with you, Erin. Are you ready to go, Erin?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is the first time that this movie is not in my top 10.
Thank God. I was going to, if you did this thing where you were like, it's 4 now, but it's going to drop, I was going to have a hard time.
Yeah. But it's probably not as low as you want it to be. It is debuting at 13.
Yeah, it's going to drop.
Mainly because I just thought it was like quirky in a funny way. There are scenes in Can of Worms that I don't ever want to watch again. There are scenes in Don't Look Under the Bed that I don't ever want to watch again.
What is this movie in between on your list? Like what's 12 and what's 14?
It's in between Genius and Don't Look Under the Bed.
Okay. So it's higher than Genius?
It's right below Genius.
And it's higher than Don't Look Under the Bed?
Yes.
Wowzers.
Because there's, like I just said, there are scenes in Can of Worms and Don't Look Under the Bed that are hard for me to watch. Whereas this movie, I could put it on in the background and I'm not offended by it. So it's there. So then we have at number 10, Alley Cat Strike. Then we have Rip Girls, Up and Away, Brink, Xenon, Halloween Town, Smart House, Color Friendship, Miracle in Lane 2, and Johnny Tsunami. Brink did move up 1 in my rating thanks to a little podcast that premiered last week called The Diss List. It was a number 1 movie, and
can you find that by searching the Diss List? No, you cannot.
It was number 10, right?
Within the Deck the Hallmark feed.
Yes.
Yeah. So having it be included in the top 10 worst movies of all time really made me rethink my life choices. So Brink moved up 1. Shout out Ryan Popola.
Stop.
This movie is also just outside the top 10 for me. It was battling it out with Color of Friendship for 10th. And I thought maybe it might.
You have this 11.
I have it 11.
Wow.
I have it 11. But I have Color of Friendship at 10, Xenon at 9, Genius at 8. A little bit of a switch them up here. Don't Look Under the Bed down to 7. Alley Cat Strike up to 6. Swap those two this week. 5, Halloween Town. 4, Miracle on Lane 2. 3, Smart House. 2, Johnny Tsunami. 1, best sports movie of all time, Brink. Dan?
I just can't. Stepsister from Planet Weird is not making my top 10. It's debuting at 18.
What? The worst?
Yes.
No way.
Brandon, I don't know how else I have to tell you this. I'm not trying to be meaner than necessary to this movie.
You like this less than Kirk Cameron shaking his butt.
Say it however you want to. Yes.
That's crazy, dude.
This movie...
Kirk, if you're listening...
As soon as whatever, Kirk, whatever you need to do, buddy. We know what you do when the cameras aren't on. When this movie...
And we're shirts above board, don't sue us. I don't know what that was.
Yeah. It was vague enough to where he can't sue us.
Just figured he was praying. And writing more children's books.
As soon as they show Bubble Planet and Bubbles are being chased by ship flown by Bubbles, I was out. And nothing that happened after that got me back in. This movie felt longer than any of the movies we watched prior, even You Lucky Dog. I'm not trying to be meaner. I'm just trying to be honest. 18 of 18. I can't imagine it moving up. It was really, really bad.
Quick question, because this will come out after our episode on Deck the Hallmark with Alonzo. Which movie felt longer? Stepsister from Planet Weird or Urkel Saves Santa?
Oh, Stepsister from Planet Weird felt way longer. Huh. Way longer.
Interesting.
Because there was a nostalgia factor for me, which, did you watch Family Matters much of it? Okay. Like for me, the nostalgia factor was strong with that, and I didn't have any nostalgia factor for this. Not to say that that movie is going to make anybody's top 10 anything unless the disc list has an episode of Family Matters related material. Stop. Write that. Somebody write that down. You kidding me right now? Indeed. I do have some shake up in my top 10. Shake up in the top 10.
We got that intro music.
Falling out of the top 10 from 10 to 11 is Color of Friendship. Moving up in its place, Alley Cat Strike. Upon having some time now, which of those would I rather watch again? Neither. But if you made me, I probably would choose the Weird Bowling movie over the Weird Apartheid movie. So Alley Cat Strike at 10. Up, and Away is dropped to 9. It was up a little bit higher than that. 8, Smart House. 7, Genius. 6, Don't Look Under the Bed. 5, Xenon. 4, Brink. 3, Miracle in Lane 2. 2, Halloween Town. And number 1, Johnny Tsunami. There it is.
That'll do it, folks.
Yeah.
For another episode of DCOM Descendants. Rate, review, share with your friends. Next week, we'll be back with Ready to Run.
Another one that I don't think I've seen.
I was telling you earlier today, not only have I not seen Ready to Run, I've literally never heard of it, which if you would have asked me, do you at least know of every DCOM that came out before the year 2012? I would have said, yes, I've heard of everyone. I've never heard of this.
My big surprise in the months that we've done this podcast is the fact that you two both adore DCOMs, and we have already stumbled across several of these that you don't remember well, or you vaguely remember, or kind of remember. We are getting
into a run. I think we're coming into my prime DCOM era. Ready. We looked at what's coming up next, and it's week after week after week, I'm like, yes, that one.
Right.
It's about to start getting hard.
We could find out that I've seen this one. This could be another. I think there's parts of Miracle in Lane 2 after watching it last week where I'm like, I maybe saw parts of this. Ready to Run feels like prime 10-year-old Erin. I don't know why I didn't see it, so maybe it will unlock some forgotten memories. I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
Ready to Run.
Come back next week to DCOM Descendants. Until then, keep DCOMing.
Keep it up. DCOM Descendants is a Bramble Jam podcast. It's produced by Brandon Gray.
That's right.
It's recorded at the Bramble Jam podcast studios in Greenville, South Carolina. For more information on DCOM Descendants, you can go to DCOMpodcast.com. Follow us on the socials at DCOM Descendants. Please leave us a rating and review. And if you want to watch us watch these movies live, you can go to BrambleJamPlus.com. Sorry, Brandon.
No, it's fine.